Here we are getting ready to exit the Somerset Historical Center on Pennsylvania 985 in Lincoln Township, Somerset County. But we are not going to be leaving Lincoln Township as of yet because we have some other places to visit here. Actually, we have 3 places to go visit, but they all relate to just one incident. And this picture should be a clue as to the next place we are going to go visit. Remember that major news story of late July 2002 when 9 coal miners were trapped underground, yet all 9 of them were rescued alive? We are going to go visit the site from where they were rescued from underground at, and it's less than a mile to the north of here, on the Dormel farm owned by the Arnold family. It's not the entry portal to that coal mine, we'll visit that afterwards, but it is where they drilled deep down underground to find where the miners were hovering at and rescued them. Now just to recap where we've been at, this map shows you how far we have traveled from the Hotel Dollar Inn back in Somerset. Now let's go over what happened that eventful time for 4 days in July 2002. Obviously here I cannot tell you too much detail about the rescue operation and the story. My main concern is simply showing you how to get to the rescue site as well as a couple of other sites so you can visit them for yourself. At about 9 p.m. on Wednesday, July 24, 2002, 18 miners became endangered underground. They were working in the Quecreek Mine that night, but they accidentally broke through a wall that separated that mine from the long, abandoned, and heavily flooded Saxman coal mine. With the Saxman Mine breached, water poured out of that long, abandoned mine into the working Quecreek Mine. The first group of 9 miners were able to telephone inside the mine to the second group, and that second group of 9 miners managed to escape at about 9:45 p.m. The problem is the first group could not escape. They were forced to languish underground for over 72 hours before they were finally rescued. And here is our left turn onto the Dormel farm owned by the Arnold family, where the rescue site occurred at, and where the Arnold family has generously set up this memorial site. The key that made this rescue operation successful was that the 9 miners trapped underground knew where to go to, the highest elevation in their coal mine, because after all, water always travels downhill. Likewise, and most importantly, the rescuers knew where to look for them possibly at if they were to have survived. And by using maps and GPS equipment, they realized the highest point in the coal mine was probably underneath the Dormel farm here. Let's back up here and take a quick look at a couple of things before we park the car. First is this Pennsylvania historical plaque right here, overlooking the site. And next is this statue of a coal miner whose back is to the rescue field down below. Now let's pull up here and around and park. At the same time, we must remember that most of this land is still private property, and that the Arnold family was nice enough to give up a portion of their land to create this memorial site and to provide us with parking. Now this diagram, courtesy of the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, gives a rough idea as to where the miners were trapped at and where the air shaft was located at, as well as the rescue shaft, and also where the Saxman Mine was at, which ended up flooding the Quecreek Mine. After the breach of the wall, the water flowed so rapidly out of the abandoned Saxman Mine that eventually it found its way all the way to the portal of the Quecreek Mine, as we can see in this picture here, taken about July 25th of 2002.
Oh, that broken drill bit. The air shaft, or the airlock, was made by the welders. And that was made here on site by some local welders designed by the neighbors. The green hoist is just here for looks. Someone just decided that they needed a place to put it, and they gave it to us. I know, and I hate that it's not centered between those trees. I know, it drives me crazy. Each one of those trees is supposed to represent a miner, different sizes and shapes. The trees are the miners that were stuck there 78 hours. The stones, the black granite stones, represents the guys that got out the first night. The tree in the center is supposed to represent all the people, the men and women that came together to rescue, and how God was watching over the whole thing. Okay? Okay. Go ahead, look around and enjoy. If you need me for anything, I'll be inside.
A quick note, I have heard two different reports about when the long-abandoned Saxman Mine was abandoned. One report says it shut down for good in 1957. Another one suggests it was not until 1963. Either way, by 2002, it was a very well-flooded abandoned mine. Here we are looking at the actual rescue shaft for the evacuation of the 9 miners. It went 240 feet deep into that mine. Now, the first thing that was drilled, of course, was a 6-inch air shaft on July 24th of '02. This was necessary to try to pump fresh air into the mine and also to try to communicate with the miners. Apparently this was just part of a plan B that was unnecessary in the end. The lady, of course, told us that this was really not part of the rescue operation at all. Rescue shaft number 2 was started when number 1 broke, but eventually number 1 was fixed and was able to be finished through. We could take one last look around here before we leave. There's a visitor center up there on the hill that overlooks the field site here. Yes, and this is a reminder of how much we need to thank the Arnold family for being so generous and allowing this permanent memorial to the mine rescue to be put up on their property.